All right, 3.2 truth tables for negation, conjunction, and disjunction. If you have not done your homework for 3.1 yet, please stop this video and do your homework for 3.1. 3.1 is used all throughout 3.2, and I just want to make sure you fully understand it before you jump into 3.2. So we're talking about truth tables. That little diagram that you see, those are called truth tables. So what the heck are truth tables? Well, all algorithms, artificial intelligence, computer science, it's all truth tables, but instead of P and Q and T and F, they use zeros and ones. 0 means true, 1 means false. But it's running through all the scenarios. If I do this, then I do this, which isn't that the if-then statement of the conditional statement, right? So instead of doing it ourselves, the computer can do it all for us, and it uses truth tables. It's cool, right? So it's used all throughout computer science and computer engineering. Truth tables are the future of math, or of science. So if you're going into computer science, there's no way you can avoid truth tables. Alright, so a truth table is used to determine when a compound statement is true or false. So these are directions on how to construct a truth table, but something about me, I like to jump in the cold water type person. I don't dip my toes in. So that's how I'm going to do this. That's how I like to do my notes. I just jump right in, and we explain as we go. But for those of you that need the detailed explanation, I'll always give it to you. So if you really want to read it, it's here for you, steps 1 through 5. But we're just going to jump right in. All right, let's construct a truth table with a negation. All right, so we have our table. This part right here will always be given. Although it's a pattern, it's always TTFF, TF, TF. That means true, true, false, false, and same thing for the other side. So T means true, F means false. Alright, so we want to construct a truth table for the statement P and negation of Q. So we have P and negation Q. I don't care what the statement means. I don't care the sentence that goes with it. I just want to determine the truth, the validity of this statement. So now that I put the symbols in a table, it's telling me write what P is. So P, using the chart, is true, true, false, false. Now, why did I do that one first? Because it's on the left side. There's nothing next to it. It's by itself. So this was the first column we did. The second column we're going to do is the other just normal letter. Normal other letter is Q. Next column we're going to do is the negation, because this is saying take the opposite of Q. So we're going to write exactly what Q is. So Q is TF, TF. Now we need to do the opposite of that. So the opposite of true is false. The opposite of false is true. The opposite of true is false. The opposite of false is true. Now we need to do our last column. So obviously that's going to be column 4. How do we get column 4? 9 out of 10 times, it's your last two columns put together, or first and last. So our first column and our third column, because the first one was the first one we did, and 3 was the previous one we did, the last one. Now how do we bring it together? There are a set of rules that you do need to remember. So the set of rules for an AND statement. So the rule is you can only have T and T to be true. Every other combo is false. Also, your last column is always your answer column. So in this case, column 4 is our answer column. I'm going to repeat that because that's how it's going to be on your homework. The last column you fill out is your answer column. So when you think about and, let's just throw a statement out there to kind of describe these rules. If I said, because you can't see me, it's hard to use my clothes as an example. That's what I usually do, so I have to think of an example that you can really see. That's why I'm using the sky often enough. So the sky is blue and the grass is green. Sky is blue, true. Grass is green, we hope it is, true. So you see how those are both true statements? That means it's a true altogether sentence. But if I said the sky is blue and the grass is purple, that's not true because and means both. Since one of them is not true, the whole sentence is false. It's a false statement. So what we're going to be doing is looking at these two columns, 1 and 3, and it's going to give us 4. So true and false. So true and false, that is false. That's an F. True and true, that is true. False and false, that is false. False and true is false. Okay, it's a set of rules we're following, and that's how we get each statement. This is something it's going to take practice to get. But once you practice it, I can almost promise you you're going to get it. And that's not the case, that's fine. You're not going to learn everything right away. It's going to take practice, it's going to take patience, and it's going to take perseverance. So work hard. You will get this. It is understandable. All right, let's continue. Luckily, we practice the truth tables with 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4. So we get a lot of practice with truth tables. You're going to be so sick of them by the end of chapter 3. Alrighty, so construct a truth table for the following statement. Michaela is not an artist and Michaela is not a musician. We'll figure out the rest later. So it's telling us to construct a truth table. So I have our truth table. P and Q will always be given. All right, so now our sentence is Michaela is not an artist. So we would say not P and Michaela is not a musician, so not Q. And we put the little squigglies because we're saying not in there. You don't need to write out separately how we did here, column 2 and column 3 up here. You don't have to write them out differently right here. We can keep it as one, and that's what we're going to do for example 2. So we have negation P and negation Q. So it's telling us opposite of P, opposite of Q. So the first column we're going to do is opposite P. The second column we're going to do is opposite Q. And then column 3. We get column 3 by comparing these two columns. So opposite of P. So opposite of true is false. Opposite of true is false. Opposite of false is true. Same thing down. All right, let's do opposite Q. So we took the opposite of each Q value, and since this is an AND statement, remember the only thing that's true is true, true. So we have false and false, that is false. False and true is false. True and false is false. True and true is true. All right, cool. We did our truth table. So under which conditions will the compound statement be true? So we need to look, so part B, When is the statement true? So the statement is true is right here. That's when it comes out to be true, because remember, the answer column is your last column. So column 3 is your answer column. So in order for it to be true, P is false and Q is false. So in order for this to be a true statement, we have to say it in the way where P is false and Q is false. Alrighty, part C. I'll do part C down here in orange. Part C is suppose Michaela as an artist is a false statement and Michaela as a musician is a true statement. Is the compound statement given in part A true or false? So Michaela is a musician. That represents P. Michaela is an artist, represents Q. So it's saying, I wrote that backwards. Michaela as an artist is P. My bad. I don't edit these videos, so you're going to catch my mistakes. Michaela is a musician is Q. So for our P's, it's telling us that it is false P. So false P and true Q. So Q is true. So then we're talking about this row right here. So if we talk about that row, is it true or is it false? It is false. All right, truth tables with the negation again. So we have negation, parentheses, negation Q, and P, parentheses. So negation on the outside is always last. If you have parentheses with the negation, you do that last. So the first thing we're going to do is negation Q, regular P, bring it together. And then to get the negation, we're actually going to negate the last column that we did. So column 3. So let's do negation Q. So opposite of Q. So false, true, false, true. Regular, normal P. So looking at our column P, we have true, true, false, false. We have a different type of statement here. We have an OR statement now. So for OR, I'll give you the rules. So if you think about an OR statement, if you look at the rules, only one thing needs to be true. Because if I'm saying OR, it's this or this. It's the sky is blue or the grass is purple. That's still true because I'm saying or. The sky is blue, so it's still a true statement because I'm saying or. It's giving you the option. It's the option of saying only one of these need to be true. So we need to bring them together. So false or true is true. True or true is true. False or false is false. True or false is true. Now we need to negate this column. We need to take the opposite of column 3. So opposite of T is F. Opposite of F is T. This would be our answer column because it's our last column. That's your answer. All right, example 4. Let's construct a truth table for the statement Santana is home and he is not at his desk, or he is sleeping. So, Santana is home. That can be our P. We have our connective of and. He is not at his desk, so he is not. Negation, I did it again, I always do the and symbol. Negation Q. We have a comma. So remember, the comma means parentheses. We have another connective, or he is sleeping. He is sleeping is a whole new object, so we have an R this time. So with our truth table, we have P and negation Q, or R. Parentheses first. So pretend that none of the rest is there. Just focus on the parentheses. So we're going to do P first, negation Q, then the connective. We're done with the parentheses. We go to the next letter. Last but not least is the last connective. So how do we get column 5? Well, the right side, which is just column 4. And if we take a look at the left side, what brought together the left side? Column 3 brought together the left side. So 3 and 4 make 5. All right, let's do P. When we're given R, our table expands a lot more because we have another variable in there. So for our P's, Q's, and R's, remember those are always going to be given to you. You don't need to memorize those. All right, let's do a new opposite of Q. So everything that's listed for Q, let's write the opposite. Cool. Now we need to bring it together with and. So remember, and, it's true and true. So we have true and false, false, true and false, false, true and true, true, true and true, true, false and false, false, false and false, false, false and false, false and true, false, false and true, false. All right, now we need to write R for exactly the way it is. And since we're talking about or, so or, everything is true except false, false. So everything else is true. So we're going to be looking at column 3 and column 4. So false or true is true, false or false, false, true or true, true, true or false, true, false or true, true, false or false, false, false or true, true, false or false, false. Column 5, that would be our answer column. All right, part B. Part B is, suppose that Santana is home is a false statement, Santana is at his desk is a true statement, and Santana is sleeping is a true statement. Is it true or false? So we're talking about Santana is home, that's P, is false. So Santana home is false is all right here. Then we're going to narrow it down some more. We're saying Santana is at his desk is true. So that's true of Q. So now we're here. Then our last statement is the R, which is Santana is sleeping, is true. So that's right here. So if we take a look, would it be a true or a false statement? It is a true statement. So the answer column, that's what you're going to look at. It is a true statement. Determine the truth value of a compound statement. Determine the truth value for each simple statement. Then using the truth values, determine the truth value of the compound statement. So basically, it's not using truth tables. It's just using what you know about knowledge. So 1 million is greater than or equal to 1 billion. So we don't even need to put this into symbols. Is 1 million greater than or equal to 1 billion? Yes, it is. It is. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm not. I'm looking at negations in my head. It is not. 1 million is not greater than 1 billion. It's less than. So it's false. So you see how sometimes you don't even need to use truth tables. You don't even need to use symbols. You can just figure it out by your basic knowledge. What if it's not so easy? What if it's like, well, no duh, 1 million is less than. Like, so yeah, of course it's going to be false. Like, it's not greater. What if it's not so cutthroat dry, right? So Angela Jolie is an actress, or Zac Efron is a janitor, but Johnny Depp is not a plumber. How do I figure out if that's true or false? That statement means absolutely nothing to me. Let's put it into symbols. So as we go along, our first subject is Angelina Jolie is an actress. So that's P. Our connective is or. Next object, Zac Efron is a janitor. Since we have that comma, we're talking about parentheses. Then we have the word but. Remember, but just means and. Our next object, Johnny Depp is not a plumber, so negation R. So let's determine, is Angelina Jolie an actress? Absolutely she is. So that's a true statement. Is Zac Efron a janitor? Not to our knowledge, right? He's an actor. I don't know his life, he could be a janitor, but for this case, he's not. And then Johnny Depp is not a plumber. That is a true statement. I don't care that it's negated. You have to write it the way it's written because it had that not, so we needed to negate it. But the fact is, Johnny Depp is not a plumber. That is a true statement. So now we have true or false. That's true. We keep bringing everything down, so true and true. This is a true statement. Doesn't sound like it, but it is. All right, the number of pets owned in the U.S. in 2014 is shown. Use the figure to determine the truth value of the following statement. There are more dogs owned than, it's supposed to say than, cats, and there are fewer reptiles owned than birds. Or the most numerous pets owned are not fish. To write that sentence is like, what? Let's bring it out. So our first object, our first simple statement is there are more dogs owned than cats. Our connective is and. Our next simple statement, there are fewer reptiles owned than birds. We have a comma, so we put parentheses. Our next connective is or. Our next statement, the most numerous pets owned are not fish. So since we have not, we have negation R. So looking at the chart, let's see if P is true. There are more dogs owned than cats. That is false. There are more cats than dogs owned. So that is a false statement. So P is false. And Q. So let's figure out Q. There are fewer reptiles owned than birds. So reptiles, birds. There are fewer reptiles than birds. So that is a true statement. The most numerous pets owned are not fish. That is false because fish is the numerous amount. It's the biggest amount. So that's a false statement. False and true is false. Just bring everything down. False or false, that is false. So this is a false statement. So you kind of see like why we do this, because it's hard to be clear sometimes, right? You can think of a person that we hear that speaks similar to this, right? It's hard to figure out what they're saying. They kind of just talk in circles. So people study logic and can take speeches and sentences and promises and figure out the validity of them. That's how they fact check things. Pretty interesting, right? This might be a video you have to watch a couple times. It might be a video where you're like, I need to review 3.1 again. It's cool, it's okay. Chapter 3 is 100% new. It is very, very, very interesting, and you have to learn a lot of new rules. But we're going to get through this, okay? Chapter 3, we're going to get through it. It's going to get easier and easier the more and more you practice. If you need more practice other than the homework, guess what? I have worksheets galore. Email me. I got you. Don't forget about our one-on-one sessions. Pay attention to the one-on-one session for the week that you're watching this video, either before or after, so you can get some, or excuse me, not one-on-one. You can request a one-on-one with me, or you can come to our Zoom sessions that I'm going to host as a class, so we can cover some of these things together as a class and get answers in real time.